Okay, so there you have seen that there you have seen how the request has been made, and there were two mandatory and one optional request that we have learned in that one. So we have learned about the get map, get feature info, get capabilities. All the requests we have learned in the WMS section. So when we talk about the WMS, basically what we are getting a completely processed output, isn't it? The output that you were visualizing on the geo server, it was an image map. So whether it is a raster data, whether it was a vector data, it doesn't matter. You are getting a final map over there. And now if you want to extract any of the feature, if you want to study about one of the street among all the roads, you cannot do that thing because you are not getting any of the feature. You are getting a complete map of that area. Now we are moving to the next service which can work on this type of data. So if we have a raster data, we go for the WCS, web coverage services. When we have a vector data, in that case, we go for the WFS, which is web feature service. And here feature stands for vector data. Okay. Feature stands for vector data. So in the WMS, as I was mentioning, that in that case, in WMS case, you can access only the complete data set. You are getting the data set, whether it is a raster data, whether it is a vector data, it doesn't matter. You are getting the output in the form of a map. You are not getting the raw data. It's like a thin client where you are getting a completely processed output as a result. But here, when we work on the WFS, we can work on the raw vector data. The output is not as user friendly as earlier it was in case of WMS. Today, my Geo server is not working anyhow. I think so. I have installed Windows 11. That's why there is some problem in my system. So it is not working today. But in later sessions, I will show you the WFS on the Geo server. But till now, WFS, remember that F stands for feature and feature means the vector data. Okay. So before I will start telling you all about the WFS. First, I am giving you task. Quickly go to the internet, search about what is WFS, which requests are mandatory, which are optional in WFS. Search about this question. What is WFS? And list of mandatory and optional requests. List of mandatory and optional requests. Okay, so yes, Alok.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So what we have searched?
Ma'am, WFS is a service which is created by Open Geospatial Consortium for creating, modifying, and exchanging vector format geographic information on the internet using HTTP. And ma'am, a WFS encodes and transfer information in geographic markup language, which is a subset of XML.
Okay. Okay, next, Arun. What are the mandatory requests in WFS?
Ma'am, mandatory request, um, ma'am, gate capabilities,
Okay.
and ma'am, the service is called WFS, and that version one. Yes, ma'am.
So you are telling just a single request, get capabilities.
Yes, ma'am, because on the website I just got the gate capability request only here.
No. Okay, next, Bhagat.
Yes, ma'am. Uh,
Yes.
so, so mandatory parameters like get capabilities, describe feature types, get feature, uh, finish feature. I don't know which one is mandatory, not listed as a.
Yes, all these three are mandatory.
Okay,
Get
the
capabilities, describe feature type, and get feature.
okay. There are like tile matrix feature, image in mosaic feature.
There are a lot of optional one. So when
Okay.
we talk about the mandatory request, these three requests are mandatory.
Get capability, get feature, and
Describe feature type.
okay, ma'am.
Okay. So let's see this one. So we are working on WFS Web Feature Server. So WFS, the Web Feature Service is a standard created by the OGC for creating, modifying, and exchanging vector format geographic information on the internet using HTTP. WFS encodes and transfers information in GML, which is Geography Markup Language, and it is a subset of XML. WFS publishes feature-level geospatial data to the web. The term feature-level geospatial data is meant as geographic coordinate data such as point line and polygon features. So first thing that you need to note down in your copy is WFS. What is the full form of WFS? Write it down. It stands for Web Feature Service. And next thing is, what is feature? Feature means vector over here. Remember this thing. When we learn or when we talk in terms of GIS, when we say feature, so feature basically means there is some feature ID. Whenever we do, identify any spatial entity, okay, so a particular instance of that one, we say it is a feature. But here, when we talk about the WFS, feature stands for vector data. So whenever you see the term feature over here, it will mean vector data. WFS deals with the vector data, and through it we can create, we can modify, we can exchange the vector related information in WFS. And for this purpose, XML is very important over here. Since the starting of WebGIS, we are learning about the XML and partially we are learning about it in KML, because KML is also a subset of XML. So KML, GML, they all are used for the geospatial data. And when we talk about the XML, why we are doing all these things in XML based language? Because XML is a standard which is used over the internet for the exchange of data, isn't it? It is used in the transportation and storage of data over the internet. That's why whenever we are working on these services like WFS, it is using XML based language called GML over here. So whenever the data which means you will see the example when we discuss about the response of the request. Over there, you will find it is completely encoded in the GML file. So the output is not like that. You can see everything. Here you cannot see anything. It is all a text document. All the responses are in the text document. Okay. Till now, whenever I will say vector data, what will be the first image? What will be your first visualization or assumption about that data? That it will appear like a point, it will appear like a line, it will appear like a polygon, like this way, isn't it? So whenever the vector data is set, there is an automatic visualization of all these three types of spatial entities. But when we use vector data in WFS in OGC, how the output will appear? It will appear in the form of a text document, in the form of a GML document. Okay. Now, what WFS can do? So it is listed over here, what types of functions that can be performed with the help of WFS. First is get or query features based on spatial and non-spatial constraints. This provides the basic GIS functionality that many applications require. It allows a client to answer questions like what is here, where are the main roads, which houses are within 30 miles of the river. So basically it is giving you the option of carry out the query. That query can be done on the spatial basis, like we have learned in GIS. The query can be performed by using spatial or attribute data. You have done this task on the QGIS software also, isn't it? You have used the SQL in attribute-based query. You have created the SQL conditions over there to carry out such type of queries. Next one is update a feature instance. So this allows a user to change an attribute on a selected feature. For example, if you need to show that a road is closed. So basically it is about that we can make some addition to data. Whether it is like, if you want to modify any of the attribute data, if you want to create any new data, if you want to delete an existing data, everything could be done with the help of WFS, which is what it is written in the subsequent lines, that delete a feature instance. If feature is no longer valid or needed, then it can be removed from the data set. Create a new feature instance. This allows users to add a feature to a map. For example, allow users to add points of interest to the map using a simple web interface using a WFS. So these type of things or tasks that can be carried out with the help of a WFS. So these are the three main requests that is scattered by the WFS. First thing is get capability, second one is describe feature type, and third one is get feature. First one, get capabilities. You have already learned about the get capabilities in WMS. Here in WFS also there is a get capabilities, and it is also doing the same task. It is giving you the metadata data information about the web feature server. Okay. Second is describe feature type. Describe feature type means it will tell you about the vector data. It will not return you the actual data, like if there is a road data, suppose. So when you go for a describe feature type, it will tell you about the road, what is road, it is a line string, what are the attribute which are used over there, what are the data type, what are the conditions, everything will be mentioned over there. So you are not basically getting the actual data, you are getting a schema document over here which will inform you about the what elements are present, what will be the constraints on those elements, what are the attributes that are used over here. Last one is the get feature. This is where the actual data will get obtained. Okay. In case of get feature, the actual vector data will be returned. So these are the three main type of requests that we are going to learn in WFS, although there are several other requests, but we are focusing on only the important request of the WFS. Coming to the first one, get capabilities. So when we need to make a request of get capabilities, it is just like the WMS get capabilities request. Okay. So as you can see it over here, service, version, and request. These three things are required, three parameters. These are the three parameters that are required for making the get capabilities request. The example is given over here, like service equal to WFS, version equal to this, request equal to get capabilities. So this is how the capabilities request is made. So as you all of you know, making a get capability request is not at all difficult. It is a very simple thing to carry out. But the major part is to understand the response. What is the response? Capability document is the response. That capability document is written in XML. So you need to understand about it. So before going into the WFS get capabilities response, I'm giving you again a task over here. Write down the major elements and major sections and subsections of the capability document which you will obtain in WMS. Okay, write it down quickly, write it down. Give the sections and subsections of WMS get capabilities response. Quickly write down. Okay, so Praveen.
Yes, ma'am.
What will be the answer?
Ma'am, service section and capability section. And three subsection is request, exceptions, and layer.
Okay, good. So these are the sections and subsections of WMS get capabilities. Okay. Now let's see its response in WFS. So the feature server, web feature server written an XML document describing the feature types that it can service and the operations defined on each of them with get capabilities request is made. Now, when we make a get capabilities in WFS, what will be the output? It will be same. It will be the capabilities document which comes in the output. It will be an XML document and it will contain 4 sections. What are these sections? Service, capabilities, feature type list, feature capabilities. Write it down in your copy. There is no subsection. Like earlier in WMS, there are 2 sections and in the second section, there were 3 subsections. In WFS, there are only 4 sections. There is no subsection. Write down the name of all the 4 sections. Service, capabilities, feature type list, feature capabilities. Now coming to the first one, which is the service section. The service section of WFS is just same as the WMS service section. Okay, clear? WMS and WFS both have the service section in the capabilities document and they are just similar to each other. So before going into the service section of WFS capabilities document, write down what will be there in the WMS service section. If you are making a WMS get capabilities request, so in the response, there will be a service section. In the capabilities document, there will be a service section, and we have learned in detail repeatedly about the different things that are present in service section. Quickly write down what are the different elements that you would expect in WMS service subsection. Service section, service section of WMS capabilities document. Quickly write down. Okay, so Ruchi.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what will be there in the service section of WMS?
Name, title, online resource URL, keyword list, and contact information like address.
Okay, so what will be there in each of them? What is
Ma'am,
name? Title?
name is ma'am name readable name like office machinery readable name होता है in name में and title में like pet name that is human readable name.
Okay.
मैम कॉन्टेक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन में एड्रेस जो भी होता है यूजर का मैम वो कुछ होता है.
बताते जाइए, कई सारी चीजें लिखी होंगी आपने.
मैम नंबर ऑफ लेयर्स, लिमिट ऑन नंबर ऑफ लेयर्स, abstract मैम इसमें शॉर्ट डिटेल्स ऑफ एनी.
Okay. So in the service section, we will find these things. So it is just like a WMS. In WFS also, we will have first, there will be a name. So as you know, there are two things, name and title. What is name? The service provider assigns the name to the WFS service instance and it is for the machine reading. So if there is another service that is calling that particular service, that it will use the name, not the title. What is title? It is a human readable title which briefly identify the service in menu. So whenever you see the things on the user interface, you will find it by a title instead of name. But when that service is called by another service, by another application, in that case, the name will be used. Abstract, it will give a short, brief information about that server. Keyword, what is keyword and what is the importance of keyword? Keyword are few of the terms that are used to identify that particular thing. Whatever we are using, whether if you are writing any of the research paper, if you are creating any of the resources, if you are creating any data, if you are creating any service, everywhere keyword is used. And the purpose of keyword is to identify that thing. Like suppose if I am writing any paper on suppose image classification, okay. So the typical keywords would be image, supervised classification, maximum likelihood, land use, land cover. These things are the keywords of my research paper, which will help to find out that paper. That finding the discoverability of data or any of the resource is very important nowadays because there is a lot of things which are present. Keyword contains a word and it will help you in the cataloging of the services. It will help in the discoverability of the services. Next is online resource. Defines the top level HTTP URL of the service, typically the URL of the home page for the service. Fees indicate any fees imposed by the service provider for a usage of the service or data retrieved from the WFS. Access constraint, any access constraint imposed by the service provider on the WFS or data retrieved from that service. So we have already covered these things in WFS, so I'm not going to repeat that thing. But simply, the service section is just like the WMS service section. Now, coming to the second section over here, which is a capability section. In capability section, what will be there? It will give the information about the requests. It will give the list of requests that are supported by the server. As you know, there are some mandatory requests. Like in WMS, the mandatory requests were get feature, get capabilities, and get map. And then there are some optional requests. When you come to this section, In WFS, when you come to the capability section, you will get the information which type of services, which type of request are supported by the server, okay, and whatever is needed with that one. All this information is present in the capability section. As you can see, get capabilities, get feature, describe feature type. These are the mandatory one. Optional request. These are the requests that WFS may but does not have to provide in order to be compliant to the specification. These requests all related to transactional WFS. So it is transaction, lock feature, get feature with lock. These are the optional requests. Write it down in your copy. All of you write down the in your copy what will be there in the capability section and what are the mandatory requests, what are the optional requests. Quickly write it down. Okay, so now I'm moving to the next section, which is a feature type list section. In feature type list section, there will be further two subsections over here. First one is the operation section and second one is a feature type section. Okay, so the third section of WFS capability document is feature type list section. And in the feature type list section, you will find two subsections, operation section and feature type section. What is there in the operations section? It is a list of operations that the server supports. And feature type section, it is a list of feature types or data that are available. So this is how the operation section appear. It will basically give you the list, the different type of operations that are available that can be done. Like you can make a query, you can do the insert, you can do the update, you can do the delete, you can do the lock. So this is the list of operations, and these operations will be applied on what? On the features. Different vector data which are present on the server. All these operations need to be provided by those features. So this section lists what the server can do. Operations listed in the section can be applied to all layers, whereas if an operation section is included in any part of the feature type sections, then the operation may apply only to that feature type. This means you can restrict which operations can be applied to a specific feature type. I will come to the last point later. But first thing is that you need to understand that in the operation section, what you will find, the different types of operations, like suppose on the server, there will be one road data, there will be some tree data, there is some river data. So these are the three different features which are present on the WFS server. So if in the operation section, query, insert, delete, update, lock, these 5 functions are written, these 5 operations are written, then it means that all the 3 data like road, tree and river, all the 3 type of features which are present on the server, these 5 operations are provided on all those 3 features. Okay, so on all the 3 you can do the insert, on all the 3 you can make a query, on all the 3 you can make an update, like this. Then there is next section, which is a feature type section. In the feature type list section, feature type section is just like a layer section in WMS. Okay, so you have learned about the feature section over there. Its equivalent is feature type section in WFS. See the example over here. So instead of layer, feature type is written over here. Okay, and there will be name, there will be title, abstract, keyword, SRS, lat long bounding box, and so on. So you will find the similar things over here. Name, the namespace qualify name of the feature type. This element is mandatory. In example, GCCM is the namespace. This allows us to tell it apart from features called in-water that are on the server. Title, a human readable title to briefly identify this feature type in menus. Abstract, a descriptive narrative for more information about the feature type. Keyword, short words to aid catalog searching. SRS, used to indicate which spatial reference system would be used to express the state of a feature. Now again, see, there is operations. Operations element defines which operations are supported on the feature type. Any locally defined operations take precedence over any globally defined operation. So here, although it is not given in the example, but here again there can be operations. So operations can be defined at 2 places, inside the feature type section, or it can be given in the operation sections earlier. So it can come under the operations, or it can come inside the feature type as operations. So here also you can define some of the operation which is applicable only this particular feature only. Okay, are you getting this thing? Like in WFS, there are several layers which were listed over there. Okay, here also there will be several features which will be listed over here. Now there will be one operation which will be defined earlier. So all those things which are mentioned in the operations section, they will be applicable to all the features. But if an operation means if there is a operations element inside the feature type section, so it will be applicable only to that particular feature, not on all the features. And any operation which is defined locally, it will have the effect, it will preside, it will have impact on the whole feature. Although, like if there is any conflict with the operations which are defined earlier, then which will be prevail? Whatever is defined inside the feature type, it will prevail. Okay. Then rest of the things are same, lat long bounding box, metadata URL. So this is what the feature type section. This is clear to everyone? Feature type list section.
Ma'am, those things which that name, title, abstract, and all those parameters which you defined, was that mandatory or optional?
Where?
Ma'am,
Name here, name, title, abstract, keyword. This?
yes, ma'am, these things.
Yeah, all these are need to be there. It is
Means,
just a layer
man,
subtraction.
means it is mandatory, no?
Yeah. These need to be listed. Like without name, without title, without SRS, without lat long bounding box, you cannot make any type of layer, any type of feature. So they need to be present over here. Any other doubt? This operation part is clear to everyone because it is a little bit tricky.
Ma'am, one doubt I have, maybe it may be silly, ma'am. Ma'am, sometimes we say parameter, sometimes we say element. How
Yeah.
we can distinguish, ma'am? Where is that element and is that
Try to
parameter?
answer by yourself. What will be your answer?
Ma'am, element can be simply a part of any particular thing, and parameters may they define certain kind of conditions.
Parameter means when you are writing the URL, okay? When you are writing the URL, there are parameters over there, like this parameter. Okay, service version request. These are the parameters. So
Okay.
service version request. These all the parameters. So you whenever you will think about the parameter, try to associate it with the URL. Try to associate it when you are making a request. There will be a set of parameters that you need to write it down. Now, second term is element that we are asking. Element, associate the element with the XML document. Okay.
Okay.
So just like the KML, because we have done the coding on that one, there was the element over there. So when we are making a response, like in this one, everything is element. This feature type, name, title, abstract, keyword, SRS, this all these things are element in this document. So as we have learned in the KML, point, coordinates, place mark, all these things were elements in the KML document. Okay. Here also we are using an XML document or a GML document. So there will be elements over here. So I do not know, I may be using sometimes things interchangeably, but no, this is for everyone. Remember this thing. When you are making a request, you are writing a URL. So there are certain things that you need to mention over there. They are known as parameters. And when you are getting any of the document in the response, any of the XML document as the response, so over here, there will be elements, there will be attribute about which you are very well aware. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any other doubt? Yes. Any question regarding the operations? Do I need to repeat that thing? Okay.
Ma'am,
So,
the operations that we include in feature type are applicable only to that feature type, and operations that is that we include out of the feature type selection in the feature type list section, that they are applicable to all the layers. Is it so?
yeah, correct.
All the
Complete.
features, they're applicable to all the features.
Yes. Whatever is listed over here in the feature type list section, there will be operations section. So inside the operations, whatever operations you are mentioning, they will be applicable to all the features of the WFS. It is written in the second point. Operations listed in this section can be applied to all the layers. Okay, wait for a minute. क्या हो गया शुक्र प्रसाद जी? क्लास चल रही है, बाद में करिएगा. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So as you can see in the second point, operations listed in this section can be applied to all layers. Whereas if an operation section is included in any of the feature type section, then the operation apply only to that feature type. Now there is another thing. Suppose there is some conflict. Okay. There can be a chances of conflict. So if there is any type of conflict, how to resolve that conflict or which rule will be followed, whichever the detail is given inside the feature type section over here, okay, it will be followed. So this is what is given. Whereas if an operation section is included in any part of the feature type section, then the operations apply only to that feature. This means you can restrict which operation can be applied to a specific feature type. Another thing, the operations element define which operations are supported on a feature type. Any locally defined operations take precedence over any globally defined operations. Okay. So suppose if there is any law and there is a conflict between the law of the central government and the state government, according to this one, which one will be precede, which one will be prevail at that land, whatever order is given by the state government, that will get prevailed over the central government. Got it? The local rule will be dominant as compared to the global rules. Now the last section is feature capabilities section. So this describes which features are supported by the server, which filters are supported by the server. The schema of the filter capability section is defined in the filter encoding specification given by OGC. This one is optional section. If it exists, then the WFS should support the operations advised in this place. So basically it is not much important. It will give some filters, some rules will be given over there here. So as it is mentioned over here, it is an optional section. It is not mandatory that it will be provided by the WFS. But if it is there, then they need to be followed. So there are three main sections that we need to focus, which are service section. Second one is the capability section. And third one is the feature type list section, which contains operations section and feature type sections. Okay. So this is all about the WFS capability document. So here you can see the example feature type list section. This is how it will appear. Okay. So element name, feature type list, type this. So basically it is about different rules which are given over here. Okay. So this coding is given and this is how the output, how it will appear on the response. Okay. Like this element name, output format, this WGS84. So this is how the output of the WFS capabilities document will appear. This is just showing one of the section WFS feature type, but similarly other features will appear. Okay. Now we need to cover the rest of the sections, rest of the request, which are describe feature type and get feature. First, I am giving you 10 minutes break. After the break, I will cover the remaining requests, and from 12:45 there will be a quiz. Okay, so 10 minutes break. Okay, so let's start the class. We were discussing about the WFS, Web Feature Services, that deals with the vector data. In this one, we have taken the first request, which was about the get capabilities request, how to obtain the metadata of the server. Now we are coming to the next one, which is the second request is describe feature type. So it is very much clear from the name what it will do. So it requests information about an individual feature type before requesting the actual data. Specifically, the operation will request a list of features and attributes for the given feature type or list the feature type available. So if you need to make a describe feature type request, see the mandatory request is mandatory, service is mandatory, output type name is optional, but usually we mention the type name also. Note it down. All of you note down the mandatory parameters of describe feature type request. First one is request. Name of WFS request type must be describe feature type for WFS describe feature type operation. Second mandatory parameter is service. Service type, it must be WFS. Output format, it's an optional. Feature type name, it is optional. But if you do not give the feature type, what will happen? Yes, anyone? If you do not give the type name over here, what will happen? If we do not give the type name, in that case, all the features, the schema of all the feature will get listed. So if we are interested in a particular feature, in that case, we will give a type name, or if we are interested in more than one, suppose I am interested in two features, then I will give the name of two features in the type name parameters. Otherwise, it is an optional, and if you do not mention the type name, in that case, all the features which are present on the WFS server, their detail will be displayed. Clear? So what will be the output? In response to a describe feature type request, where the value of the output format attribute has been set to XML schema, a WFS implementation must be able to present an XML schema document that is a valid GML application schema and defines the schema for the feature type listed in the request. So if we say in the simple terms, the output of or the response of a describe feature type is a schema document. What will be there in that schema document? It will give the information about all the different attribute, what will be the data type, what will be the constraint on them. All this information will be there. So let's see an example of that one. See. So this one is a simple SQL. Read it. Read this example. So in this one, there are three features: trees, A underscore 1M, road L underscore 1M, lakes, area A underscore 1M. Okay. See, first there are giving name, null, whether there can be null or not, and what will be the type. So first, extent, null, it cannot be null, type is polygon. Then next, name is ID. Nothing is mentioned in the null, so it can be null. Type is number and up to 10. Third one is tree type. It can be null, no, it cannot be null. And it will be a varchar, means it will be a string and it will be up to 80 characters. Okay. So what they are doing, they are giving a first feature and then they are giving the detail of the attribute of that one. Second one is the road. Name, central line, null, it cannot be null, type, line. Next, designation, varchar up to 30, surface type, varchar again 30, number of lanes, n lanes, it will be numeric and up to 2 digits. Then lake, extent, not null, for type is polygon, name, varchar 30, average depth, it will be number. They should write down the number inside the parenthesis. Also the max length will be a, max depth will be a number. Okay. Now see how the output will appear. It will come in the, if you make a describe feature type request, okay, how the output will come? The output will come in this way. The output will come in this one. What is this document is called? What is the name of this document? Yes, Shivam?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the name of this document in XML?
Uh,
What is the name of this document? There are two types of document in XML, is it?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what are the name of those two types of document? Okay.
Ma'am, is schema.
Yes. Yes, Shravan, do you know the answer?
Uh,
Next, Sumit.
Ma'am, schema document.
Yes, and second one is the instantiation of schema
Instance.
document. Yes, it is called the instance document. Okay, there are two types of document in XML, schema document and instance document. Schema document will give you the, it's like a definition. What will be there in the actual document. So when we have to prepare the actual data, we need to set the, see the schema document. It's like a template of our document. So this one is the schema document that we are right now visualizing. So when a describe feature type request is made, the output will be a schema document. See what is there in the schema. Here you can see it is written in XML, or basically it is a GML document. We have already seen the SQL of this one. See how it is represented in GML. There is nothing difficult in this one. Although it may be appearing very complicated right now, but if you see it carefully, everything is very simple. Complex type name is tree_a1m underscore type. So this will give you the name of the feature. Complex content extension based GML abstract feature type. So everyone means all the element will be the extension of the abstract feature type GML. Thereafter, see the very first element was, if you see the SQL of this one, the very first element is extend, second one is ID, third one is tree type. Okay. Here, see, element name equal to extend, type equal to GML surface property type, nullable equal to false. What is the meaning of nullable equal to false? It means that it cannot have a null value. Yes?
No, ma'am.
Is there any question?
No, ma'am. I'm about to say that nullifiable equals to false means it cannot be a null value.
Yeah. So here in the So here you can see what we have seen in the SQL. So extend cannot be null, not null, and it is of polygon. So here you can see the same thing. Where is that? Okay. Extend element name extend, type GML surface property type, nullable equal to false. Why? Because it is already written that it cannot be null. Then next element is ID. So here you can see element name equal to ID, nullable equal to true, min occurrence equal to 0 means it cannot occur more than one time. It will occur at most one time. Then see, simple type restriction base. It is of integer type. Number 10 is given over here. So see, restriction base equal to integer, total digit value equal to 10. Then everything, all the elements are getting closed over here. Second is tree type. See in the SQL, tree type varchar 80 means it will be a string. So again, you can see the same thing. Element name equal to tree type, nullable equal to true, min occurrence equal to 0. Then simple type restriction base equal to string, max length will equal to 80. So this is how it will give a complete detail, a complete schema of the tree feature. Similarly, for the rest also the things are available. For example, there is a road. Same things you can find it out over here. That complex content, extension base, GML, abstract feature type, element name equal to center line, designation, all the attributes that are present for that particular vector data, it is listed over here. So do not get worried about all these things that it is too complicated. No, it is not complicated, and you do not also need to remember these things. I'm just telling you for the information purpose that how it will appear on the, when you make a describe feature type request, how it will come over here. Okay. Is it clear? So when you are making a describe feature type, you are going to get such type of XML schema. So before making any type of request, you first need to check what attributes are there, what are the restrictions that are applied over there, what are the data types, what will be the maximum length. All this information will be there in the describe feature type section. Okay. So as you can see it over here, that there were 3 features in this example. First one was trees, second one was road, and third one is the lake. Okay. So you can find out the same thing in the describe feature type. And if you have written type name over here, then only those features that you have listed in the type name, the detail of those will get listed over here. Okay, so this is describe feature type request, and this is how its response will appear. The response of the describe feature type is an XML schema document. If somebody asks you why do you make describe feature type request, what will be your answer? Okay. Yes, Sunil.
Yes, ma'am.
If somebody asks you why are you making a describe feature type, or when we will make a describe feature type request, what will be your answer?
Ma'am, give the all the feature.
Getting? Repeat the answer.
Ma'am, give the all the feature information.
What do you mean by feature information?
Attribute data.
Okay. And yes, what will be there for the attribute data? What information about the attribute data?
Ma'am, attribute
सही बता रहे हैं, आगे बताइए, सही बता रहे हैं आप।
मैम जैसे कोई लाइन है या पॉलीगन है या उसका मैम हाइट विड्थ
उसकी हाइट कितनी है, उसका विड्थ कितना है, उसकी डेप्थ कितनी है, ये पता लगेगा। बताइए सुनील, कोई रिवर है तो उसका डेप्थ कितना है, उसका वॉल्यूम कितना है, ये बात पता लगेगी।
नो
तो क्या पता लगेगा? बोलिए, गलती बोलिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, बताइए। सुनील,
यस मैम,
बता ही नहीं रहे आप। Okay, चलिए next, Jayashree.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what will be the answer?
It gives us the vector data format of the feature, like whether it is a point, line, or a polygon.
And yes, and we are not giving the complete list.
Name of the feature.
Name of the feature, okay, and it will not give you the name of the feature. You are already writing down the name of the feature in type name. It will provide, means it will be there. The feature name will be there, and there is no doubt about it. What else? Okay, no answer. I'm going to the next one. Alok.
Ma'am, whatever Valley Sethi ma'am said, the same answer, ma'am.
I'll repeat the answer.
Ma'am, we create describe feature type to give information about whether feature is a point line or a polygon, ma'am.
That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, Arun.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
मैम डिस्क्राइब फीचर टाइप रिक्वेस्ट में मैम जो हमारा फीचर होता है, जो वेक्टर डेटा है, चाहे पॉइंट लाइन पॉलीगन है, तो मैम उसकी सारी डिटेल होती है। जैसे कि मैम उसको कोई हम आईडी देंगे तो उसकी डिटेल होगी मैम। जैसे पॉइंट है तो मैम उसकी नल वैल्यू हमने दी थी। तो मैम इसी तरह जितने भी फीचर्स होंगे मैम उसकी जितनी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक कर सकते हैं मैम, उसको डिस्क्राइब कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे। और जैसे रिवर की एग्जांपल ले रहे हैं मैम, तो उसकी लेंथ होगी, कहाँ कहाँ से फ्लो हो रही है मैम, वो दे सकते हैं। और मैम समथिंग लाइक दैट।
तो आपको ये मिल जाएगा कि रिवर कहाँ कहाँ से फ्लो रही है, इसका इंफॉर्मेशन मिल जाएगा डिस्क्राइब फीचर टाइप से।
नहीं मैम, हम जो एट्रीब्यूट बना रहे हैं मैम, तो उसमें हम क्या क्या चीज ऐड कर सकते हैं। जैसे मैम उसका नाम ऐड कर सकते हैं, उसकी लेंथ ऐड कर सकते हैं मैम, समथिंग लाइक दैट।
ये अगर आप डिस्क्राइब फीचर टाइप रिक्वेस्ट प्लेस करते हैं तो उसमें कोई फीचर का नेम क्या है ये देखने के लिए नहीं करते हैं। उसमें फीचर से रिलेटेड, ठीक है, फीचर का जो जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं डिजाइन पार्ट जो होता है, वो इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है वहां पे। मतलब फीचर क्या है, उस पर क्या कंस्ट्रेंट्स लगे हैं, उसके कितने एट्रीब्यूट हैं, उन एट्रीब्यूट को हम क्या वैल्यूज दे सकते हैं, उनका डेटा टाइप क्या है, उनके ऊपर क्या रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगी है, ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन आपको डिस्क्राइब फीचर टाइप से मिलती है। समझ में आ रहा है? यहाँ पर जैसे एग्जाम्पल में आपको दिखाया गया, इस एग्जाम्पल में जो बार बार यही चीज तो दिखा रहे थे, यहाँ पर एक जो फीचर है उसका नेम क्या है, ट्रीज A_1M_ टाइप। तो जो भी वेक्टर डेटा का नेम देना था वो नेम यहाँ पर आ गया। आगे अगर आप देखें तो बाकी सारा इंफॉर्मेशन उसके एट्रीब्यूट से जुड़ा हुआ है। एक उसका एट्रीब्यूट होगा एक्सटेंट, एक एट्रीब्यूट होगा आईडी, एक एट्रीब्यूट होगा ट्री टाइप। ऐसे दिया है।
यस मैम।
देखिए रेड कलर की लाइन इस पे कर दी है। यहाँ पर 3 नेम यहाँ पर है, एक्सटेंट, आईडी एंड ट्री टाइप। ठीक है, ये 3 एलिमेंट इसके अंदर में रहेंगे। अब इससे जुड़ा हुआ डिटेल कि वो कितनी बार आ सकता है, उसकी वैल्यू नल हो सकती है कि नहीं, उसकी वैल्यू होनी क्या चाहिए, वो स्ट्रिंग होगा, वो इंटीजर होगा, वो फ्लोट होगा, क्या होगा, उसकी लेंथ कितनी हो सकती है, वो सारा डिटेल आपको यहाँ पर मिल रहा है। ये ध्यान रखिएगा, एक्चुअल डेटा हमको यहाँ नहीं मिल रहा है। ये एक डिजाइन डॉक्यूमेंट है, जिसका सही शब्द क्या होता है, स्कीमा डॉक्यूमेंट है ये। ओके, ये आपको स्कीमा देता है, एक टेम्पलेट देता है। जैसे अगर हमने बोला आज आपको कि आप एक डॉक्यूमेंट प्रिपेयर करो, आप एक रिसर्च पेपर प्रिपेयर करो, उस रिसर्च पेपर में आप क्या लिखोगे, सबसे पहले टाइटल, फिर एब्स्ट्रैक्ट, फिर कीवर्ड, फिर इंट्रोडक्शन, फिर लिटरेचर रिव्यू, फिर स्टडी एरिया, फिर मेथडोलॉजी, फिर रिजल्ट, फिर डिस्कशन, फिर कंक्लूजन, फिर रेफरेंस। एक पूरा का पूरा एक टेम्पलेट है हमारे पास में, वो हमने आपको दे दिया। अब आपको उसके अंदर लिखना है। अब उसके अंदर हमने रूल बना दिया कि जो आप एब्स्ट्रैक्ट लिखोगे वो 250 वर्ड्स का लिखोगे, जो इंट्रोडक्शन होगा वो 1000 वर्ड्स का होगा, जो लिटरेचर रिव्यू होगा वो सपोज 2000 वर्ड्स का होगा। तो यहाँ पर हमने क्या डाले, अलग अलग यहाँ पर रूल्स उसके अंदर डाल दिया आपके लिए। तो ये सारा, ये क्या है, ये कोई एक्चुअल रिसर्च पेपर नहीं लिखा आपने, ये कोई मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट प्रिपेयर होकर के नहीं आ गई यहाँ से, बल्कि एक टेम्पलेट दे दिया गया। अब जब आप उसको बैठ करके एक्चुअल में राइट डाउन करोगे तब क्या बनेगा, तब इंस्टेंस डॉक्यूमेंट बनेगा। तो हमने जो चीज आपको प्रोवाइड करी वो क्या यहाँ पर कहलाएगी, वो यहाँ पर कहलाएगी एक्सएमएल स्कीमा। ठीक, एक टेम्पलेट दे दिया गया, कंटेंट एक्चुअल में नहीं दिया गया, एक आउटलाइन दे दी गई कि इस तरीके से उसको बना लो, लेकिन बना करके नहीं दिया अभी। तो ये है स्कीमा, ये एक डिजाइन है। ठीक, उसका इंस्टेंशिएशन, कंप्यूटर के लैंग्वेज में हम लोग बोलते हैं इंस्टेंशिएट करना, है ना, कि ऑब्जेक्ट का हमने डिक्लेयर कर दिया लेकिन उसको बनाया नहीं, उसको मेमोरी एलोकेट नहीं करी है। तो हमें अभी इंस्टेंशिएशन हमने नहीं किया, एक्चुअल डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं बना, बल्कि डॉक्यूमेंट का एक टेम्पलेट, एक आउटलाइन आपको प्रोवाइड करी गई। वो डिजाइन कैसे होगा ये बताया गया। ये कहाँ से, अगर आपको जानना है कि वेक्टर डेटा जो है उसकी डिजाइन क्या है, उसके एट्रीब्यूट क्या है, उसके टाइप क्या है, ये खबर आपको कहाँ से मिलेगी, इसके लिए आपको डिस्क्राइब फीचर टाइप की रिक्वेस्ट प्लेस करनी पड़ेगी, तब जाकर के ये सारी जानकारियां आपको मिल जाएगी। अब अगर आपको सपोज कोई इस तरीके का डॉक्यूमेंट दे दे तो आई होप आप लोग पढ़ लेंगे, देख करके डर नहीं जाएंगे कि पता नहीं क्या इतना सारा लिख दिया गया है, ये तो मेरे समझ में ही नहीं आएगा। कुछ भी यहाँ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है, अगर आप थोड़ा सा उसको ध्यान से देखें तो अपने आप, अब आप पढ़ेंगे तो आपको चीजें समझ में आएगी। बाकी इंटरनेट अवेलेबल है, जो नहीं समझ में उसको सर्च कर लो, है ना। जैसे हमें नहीं समझ में आ रहा है निलेबल का मतलब क्या होता है ना, तो हमने क्या किया, हम गए गूगल किया, XSD स्कीमा डॉक्यूमेंट के लिए होता है XSD निलेबल मीनिंग, अपने आप आ गया। ठीक है, so the presence of the XSD nullable attribute in an XSD element means that the corresponding element in the XML permits null values। तो nullable का मतलब है कि null value वो permit कर रहा है, तो जहां true होगा वहां पर null आप दे सकते हैं, जहां पर nullable false कर दिया गया वहां पर आप null value नहीं दे सकते, वहां कुछ ना कुछ value डालनी पड़ेगी। तो इसलिए ये चीजें सिंपल है। कभी आपको दे दिया जाए कहीं पर कि इसको पढ़ लीजिए तो एकदम तुरंत ये नहीं बोलना कि एक हाथ खड़े होगा कि हमें तो कुछ समझ ही नहीं आया कि इसमें लिखा क्या है। ये कभी भी अप्रोच कोई भी प्रॉब्लम में कभी मत करिए। अगर कोई एक इंसान किसी चीज को पढ़ करके बता सकता है तो हम भी बता सकते हैं, है ना। और इंटरनेट अवेलेबल है, उस पर छोटी छोटी चीजें सर्च करिए, अपने आप आपका नॉलेज बिल्ड होता जाता है। तो इस तरीके का डॉक्यूमेंट अगर आपको मिले तो आप कोशिश करें रीड करने की। और एक्सएमएल का जो हमेशा से बताते आते हैं कि एक्सएमएल एक ऐसी लैंग्वेज है जो आपको नहीं भी आए तो भी आप पढ़ करके समझ सकते हैं। थोड़ा बहुत सर्च करना पड़ेगा लेकिन मोर और लेस एक रफ आइडिया आपको उस चीज का लग जाएगा कि इसमें दिया क्या है, क्योंकि इसमें जो टर्मिनोलॉजी यूज होती है, जो शब्द यहाँ पर यूज होते हैं वो इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड होते हैं, है ना। अगर आप सोचें कि हम जावा का कोड या C++ का कोड बिना जाने बिना समझे हम देख लें, उसको समझना बहुत मुश्किल होता है। लेकिन एक्सएमएल का कोड एक ऐसा कोड होता है कि उसको आप इजीली समझ सकते हैं। चलिए नेक्स्ट पर आते हैं, हमारा टाइम भी ऑलरेडी खत्म हो रहा है। गेट फीचर, ठीक है। गेट फीचर क्यों होता है, एक्चुअल डेटा हमें कहां से मिलता है, गेट फीचर का रिक्वेस्ट करने से। अगर आप गेट फीचर का रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे, देखिए इसमें लिखा यूजिंग दिस स्कीमा डिस्क्रिप्शन अ क्लाइंट कुड देन एक्सप्रेस द स्टेट ऑफ ट्रीज फीचर इंस्टेंस और अ रोड फीचर इंस्टेंस एज शोन इन द फॉलोइंग एग्जांपल। ठीक है, ये देखिए ये पूरा का पूरा यहाँ से यहाँ तक इसमें क्या दिया गया है, यहाँ पर इसका इंस्टेंस डॉक्यूमेंट दिया गया है। ठीक है, बाकी इसका पूरा डिटेल जैसे आप लोग ने KML में, अच्छा KML में अभी हम लोग वहां तक पहुंचे नहीं है, KML में जिस तरीके से आप पॉलीगन अभी डिफाइन करना सीखेंगे, कुछ कुछ उसी तरीके से यहाँ पे भी काम हो रहा है। जब आपने गेट फीचर का रिक्वेस्ट किया, अब यहाँ पर कोई एक्चुअल वो नहीं मिल रहा है, बल्कि यहाँ पर जो पॉलीगन बन रहा है उसके पूरे के पूरे कोऑर्डिनेट XY कोऑर्डिनेट यहाँ पर मिल रहे हैं, 65.58 एंड -122, 65.59 -120 सो ऑन। इसी तरीके से आप लाइन में भी देख सकते हैं, ये देखिए, इसी तरीके से लाइन में भी पूरे कोऑर्डिनेट्स की लिस्ट भेजी जाती है। ओके, समझ में आ रहा होगा गेट फीचर में क्या है। जब आप गेट फीचर करेंगे तो आपके पास में इंस्टेंस डॉक्यूमेंट आएगा जिसमें एक्चुअल डेटा कुछ इस तरीके से पूरा का पूरा उसमें आपको मेंशन मिलेगा। ठीक, एक और एग्जांपल देखिए, ये देखिए, एक और कोई एग्जांपल है, ये देखिए किस तरीके से ये पूरा डिटेल मिल रहा है हमको, और इसको देखते ही हमें समझ में आ जा रहा है कि ये किसी व्यक्ति फ्रेड जिसका फर्स्ट नेम है, लास्ट नेम जिसका स्मिथ है, जिसकी एज 35 है, इसका मेल सेक्स है, और इसका एचरेफ जो है ये है, एंड मेल डिटेल पूरा का पूरा यहाँ पर जो डिटेल है वो यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है, फोन नंबर ये है, एड्रेस उसका ये है, पूरा यहाँ पर लिखा है। इसी तरीके से ये पूरा का पूरा इस तरीके का एक बड़ा सा डॉक्यूमेंट यहाँ पर मिलेगा। वहां पर एक फीचर के लिए थे, यहाँ पर देखिए मल्टीपल उसके लिए है। यहाँ एक दूसरे व्यक्ति का है, स्मिथ मैरी इस व्यक्ति का है, यहाँ पर उसके बाद में किसी कार का डिटेल शुरू हो गया। तो इस तरीके से ये इंस्टेंस डॉक्यूमेंट मिलते हैं आपको। ठीक है, इसकी हेल्प से हमें क्या मिलेगा कि एक्चुअल जो वेक्टर डेटा है उसका डिटेल हमको यहाँ पर पूरा का पूरा अवेलेबल रहता है जब हम गेट फीचर का रिक्वेस्ट प्लेस करते हैं। इसको नोट डाउन करिए, मैंडेटरी पैरामीटर्स, रिक्वेस्ट सर्विस टाइप नेम। यहाँ केवल एक फीचर का एक बार में रिस्पॉन्स आएगा। डिस्क्राइब फीचर टाइप में आप चाहे जितने भी वेक्टर डेटा अवेलेबल हो, चाहे आप सबका पूरा स्कीमा डॉक्यूमेंट देख सकते हैं या किसी एक का, लेकिन जब हम गेट फीचर की रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं तो एक बार में किसी एक ही वेक्टर का, जैसे केवल ट्री का, केवल लाइन का, केवल रिवर का, इस तरीके से किसी एक फीचर का आप डिटेल केवल देख सकते हैं। तो यहाँ पर रिक्वेस्ट, यहाँ सारे जो तीनों गेट कैपेबिलिटीज, डिस्क्राइब फीचर टाइप और गेट फीचर, यहाँ पर तीनों ही बहुत ही सिंपल रिक्वेस्ट है। तो यहाँ पर रिक्वेस्ट प्लेस करना कठिन नहीं है, और आउटपुट जो आप देख रहे हो उसको रीड करने की जरूरत है। क्यों? क्योंकि वो एक एक्सएमएल डॉक्यूमेंट के फॉर्म में आ रहा है। इसमें ये ध्यान रखिए, देखिए अब की बार भी जब हमने रिस्पॉन्स देखा, गेट फीचर का रिस्पॉन्स देखा, तो आपको कुछ बना बनाया नहीं दिखा, कोई आपको पॉलीगन बना हुआ नहीं दिखा, बल्कि आपको कैसा मिलेगा, जैसे आपने केएमएल में पॉइंट कोड किया, जैसे केएमएल में आपने लाइन को कोड किया है ना, तो वहां पर आप जब उस केएमएल डॉक्यूमेंट को ओपन कर रहे थे गूगल अर्थ पर, तब तो आपको आउटपुट दिख रहा था, लेकिन केएमएल डॉक्यूमेंट में केवल उसका कोडिंग दिखता है। इसी तरीके से जब हम लोग WFS की रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं, आपको कहीं आउटपुट में लाइन बनी हुई नहीं दिखेगी, बल्कि आपको इसी तरीके से रॉ डेटा, जैसे KML के कोड में रॉ डेटा था, वहां पर पॉइंट लिखे थे आपने, उसी तरीके से यहाँ पर GML के फॉर्म में ये पूरा का पूरा डिटेल अवेलेबल रहेगा। कहीं आपको लाइन बनी हुई, पॉइंट बनी हुई कुछ आपको विजुअली वैसे नहीं दिखेगा, आपको एक GML डॉक्यूमेंट के फॉर्म में, एक XML डॉक्यूमेंट के फॉर्म में अपना आउटपुट को आपको देखने को मिलेगा। तो इसको क्विकली इसका नोट डाउन कर लीजिए, इसके मैंडेटरी रिक्वेस्ट जो है, रिक्वेस्ट सर्विस टाइप नेम, get feature response. The format of the response to a get feature is controlled by the output format attribute. The default for the output format attribute shall be GML2. तो इसमें सिंपल वे में गेट फीचर का रिस्पॉन्स क्या होता है? इट विल बी अ GML डॉक्यूमेंट. उस GML डॉक्यूमेंट में क्या होगा? आपके जितने भी उस पर्टिकुलर फीचर में जितना भी अलग अलग आपने वेक्टर डेटा होंगे, उन सब का पूरा डिटेल GML डॉक्यूमेंट के फॉर्म में मिलेगा. उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग उसके क्या कोऑर्डिनेट्स हैं, उनके क्या एट्रीब्यूट वैल्यूज हैं, वो सारा इंफॉर्मेशन उस डॉक्यूमेंट में अवेलेबल रहेगा. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे आते हैं. कंपैरिजन ऑफ WFS एंड WMS. दोनों के बीच का कंपैरिजन. इसको आप हम पढ़ाने से पहले आप लोग क्विकली अपने कॉपी पे 2 मिनट में इसको लिखें. आप लोग को क्या डिफरेंस मिलता है WFS एंड WMS के बीच में? What is the difference between the WMS and WFS? ओके देन, आप लोग ने अपने एंड पर इसको लिख लिया होगा, द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दी WFS एंड WMS. तो टाइम आज ओवर हो रहा है, तो इसको हम लोग नेक्स्ट टर्न पे डिस्कस करेंगे, नेक्स्ट ट्यूसडे पे, अपकमिंग लेक्चर टर्न पर. क्या डिफरेंस होता है WMS एंड WFS में. ठीक है, तो आज के लिए यहीं पर लेक्चर हम स्टॉप कर रहे हैं. आप लोग इसको एक बार रिवाइज करिएगा WFS को. जहां जो भी डाउट हो उसको हम लोग नेक्स्ट टर्न पर एक बार डिस्कस करेंगे. ठीक है, और बाकी की जो सर्विसेज हैं उसका बहुत डिटेल में नहीं, एक शॉर्ट में हम लोग ओवरव्यू अब लेंगे जो बाकी की सर्विसेज होती हैं. ठीक है, तो आज के लिए इतना ही. आप लोग का क्विज स्टार्ट हो जाएगा अभी थोड़ी देर में. स्टूडेंट कुछ कम है. yes. अगर कोई इन्फॉर्म कर सकते हैं, एक तो इसमें शुभम एब्सेंट है. सो शुभम को अगर आप लोग इन्फॉर्म कर सकते हैं तो उनको कर दीजिए क्विज के लिए. या क्विज स्टार्ट भी हो गई है. चलिए, ओके देन, द क्लास इज ओवर फॉर नाउ. थैंक यू सो मच.
थैंक यू मैम.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.